Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Blizzard Comedy Profiles. Thank you so much for joining. Today I am... we haven't done one of these for a while, by the way, as well. Really sorry about that. We haven't done these since the last Broadcast Avalanche show we've done. And then I was going to book someone in, and then they just stopped replying to my Facebook messages, so I didn't book them in before that. This is the first one we've been able to do for a while, so thank you so much for coming to join us. Today we're trying to do the magnificent Ryan Kenny, who is right here next to me now. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm all right, yeah. I'm not next to you, though.
No. Well, no, but through the magic of Twitch, it looks like you're next to me, and we've just got...
Cool.
Yeah, just a... it's like in University Challenge, except not at all. Where they've got them. Did you also used to think that they were actually like a two-story?
I thought they were like a double-decker.
I know. I was genuine. I wish. Oh, they should do Mock the Week like that. They should really.
That
so good.
It blew my mind when I saw how far away apart they actually were.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense, particularly because obviously that started in the days of 4-3 resolution, so it does make more sense to do it that way. But also, yeah, it's absolutely wild. Anyway, hello, Staffy Bishop. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the cheer. Cheers. Well, what we're doing. Just segue into me drinking some beer, and is it going to fizz over? It's not. We're good. You couldn't see any of that, but it was really dramatic. Ryan, you probably was on guested on our panel show last month, and has also done it before. He's absolutely fantastic. So today we're going to be talking a bit more about his more traditional stand-up comedy, his kind of journey into that, and his likes, dislikes, and all that kind of thing. So if you do have any questions at any point during the stream, do feel free to put them in the chat, and I will try and get to them by the end. So just start off with a fairly kind of broad, open-ended question. What is... This is going to sound really weird the way I'm phrasing it, but what is your earliest memory of enjoying comedy? I used to phrase that very differently, and it just always confused people. So I'm trying to...
My actual early... I think it was my granddad making little jokes at the table, but like proper dad jokes.
Yeah,
I think that is my, and this is probably when I was 3-4. Him at Christmas making better Christmas. He tried to be the Christmas cracker jokes, or we used to do a game where he used to guess what the punchline was to the Christmas cracker.
Oh, that's brilliant! And now we do it
every Christmas.
That's a brilliant. I need to do that. I need to do it for the New Year special of Broadcast Avalanche. That'd be great.
Yeah, because you end up actually creating better jokes.
Yeah, you always do. I don't. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go on.
So I just said I'm next to my boiler and it's just started boiling. So
that's fine. No, yeah, I've not heard it, so I'm sure it's fine. I was just gonna say, like, I just kind of related to that. Is I remember having my mind blown a couple of years ago when because it was that thing where I was just in a supermarket and I got I got in that frame of mind where I just like picked up any treat that I wanted and put it in the shop. So I was having one of those days, and I put in like a load of penguins. I was like, oh yeah, I've not had them since I was a child. And then there was just one joke on it that was just it was just something like why can't penguins fly? And the answer was because they're chocolate biscuits. And I was like, what? When did this? When did they fucking employ Stuart Lee at the fucking fucking penguin joke factory? What happened there? Yeah.
I love that.
Chocolate's not allowed to be meta. Okay. But yeah, sorry to take the focus off you for a second there. From your kind of granddad, that's a really sweet answer. I've not had anyone really talk about in such personal terms before. It's interesting. So in terms of like more kind of I guess like stuff that you consumed on the media in terms of like whether that's like stand-up comedians or sitcoms or radio shows or anything like that. What are there any particular early examples of that you remember really enjoying, connected to?
Earliest one I'm trying to think of is Whose Line's It Anyway?
Right, yeah.
I'm sure everyone knows it, but for those who don't know, it's a improv show that did start in UK, but there was a lot more in America. Ryan Stiles, Colin Mockery, the UK had Paul Merson and people like that.
Yeah.
But waking up in the morning and watching it on Channel 5, I think it was, before school. And even though I don't do improv myself, but just the way they think about jokes and is how I like to write jokes. And I think whose lines it anyway? It's one of those, like people can quote films.
Yeah.
I can quote episodes of Whose Lines It Anyway.
Yeah.
And songs from Whose Lines It Anyway, because I just think that was probably one of my earliest ones, and then I started to get into Vic and Bob stuff.
Yeah. Those are definitely names that come up a lot in these interviews. I think it says a lot about the kind of people that we like to book. That Vic and Bob have been mentioned in pretty much every one. Yeah, exactly. Except for people who didn't grow up in the UK, they haven't said that as much. But other than that, I think.
So that's sort of the TV shows, and are we on to the comedians?
Yeah.
It's changed from when I was young to where I am now.
Yeah.
And obviously because there's new comedians, but I mean the kind of comedians I like. So back when I was younger, 10, 12, it used to be Lee Evans, Michael McIntyre.
Yeah. Lee Evans was one of my first as well. Like probably the first stand-up comedian I ever saw on TV, and what made me fall in love with it.
It's just the animation of it.
Yeah. Oh, he's a phenomenal performer. Yeah, I mean, he probably is one of the best comedy performers we've ever had in this country. Like writing, there's loads of better comedy writers, but just in terms of sheer performance, he's definitely up there.
Yes, they're probably the ones early on, but now I'd like to think I've got a better. Nothing wrong with them, but I like my taste is more refined and niche now.
Yeah.
I think.
Did you find that happened after you started doing stand-up comedy, or? Because I definitely noticed that. Yeah, I definitely noticed a shift. Certainly within like 3 years of doing stand-up comedy, my favourite comedians changed. Not completely drastically. Like my old favourite comedians I still liked, but I was less excited by them than I used to be when I started like going to live shows and saying, "Oh, actually, no, this is particularly because when you see them, it's usually like on TV, it's like heavily edited, and you're not getting that kind of raw experience." But yeah, I definitely found that I started I would rather like take a fucking hour and a half tube to go to an open mic night in London than just like turn on the TV and see who was on Channel 4 kind of thing.
I would say like when I start 16, so when you've been able to go out and watch gigs and YouTube becoming more of a thing then, so you've got wide appeal of who you can actually watch.
Yeah.
I would say that's when my niche, the people I liked, change really.
Yeah.
If Lee Evans at O2's on at 11 o'clock on ITV2 or Dave or whatever, and I'm lying on the couch, I'd happily watch that. But these other comedians now who I look up to, instead of enjoying, I look up to. And
and there is a distinction, Yeah.
I've never looked up to Lee Evans. I think he's an incredible comedian.
Yeah.
But the comedians now I look up to and like to take a little bit of how they act into how I act. So.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So what, I guess like jumping forward a bit now, so what kind of comedians or comedy media sort of triggered that kind of spark in you that you wanted to start pursuing comedy yourself? Tell us how that happened. Was it anyone in particular, or was it kind of just more of a social thing you just wanted to do? Or
I think to me that's two questions there, because like the comedians watching comedy on TV never got me into wanting to perform comedy.
Sure.
It was the fact that I was bullied a lot at school. Not to a heavy level that some people were. I did go to a grammar school, so the bullying was.
It must have been. Yeah.
It's interesting levels. I didn't get battered.
Yeah. No.
It was more psychological.
Yeah. Because I mean, not to make assumptions, but I'm assuming you came from like a more working class background than a lot of people at the school were. Is that fair to say, or is that way off?
Actually, no. I would say my mum's middle class,
right?
And I was raised by my mum,
right? Okay.
Who was middle class. I would say so. Yeah, but my mum's middle class from a working class background.
Okay, right. I see. Yeah.
And I was raised by my mum, so...
Sure, okay, yeah.
But as I've always used comedy, or trying to make people laugh, as a way to fit into a room. As it quickly became my personality to try and be funny above all else.
How successful was that, like, early on? Because I definitely had a similar thing at school, and it did not go well. Like I was very much into my kind of like Eddie Izzard's and Vic and Bob, which doesn't translate well to classroom humor when you're just being like whimsical. People just think you're like just an idiot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't work as which I didn't understand then, and I didn't. It took me a good. I probably only like realised why that didn't work in like the last 3 years or so. So
yeah, it worked better in sixth form.
Yeah. I found that as well. Yeah,
being an oddball works better in sixth form. Like I don't know where there's a musical called oh my god, Loser Geek or whatever. Anyway? There's a musical called with a song called Michael in the with Michael in the bathroom in, right? I don't know where I'm going with this point. So don't finish it early. And there's a song called Cooler in College where they're not cool, but they dream to be cooler when they get to college. Yeah. That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, because you find your people.
Yeah. That's definitely what happened with me. Yeah.
You find the people who think, "Oh, I get you," rather than people think, "You're weird. I don't like you. Go and continue to hang out with the ladies." So I actually preferred talking to the teachers than I did most of my pupils.
Yeah. No, I feel that as very, very similar. I mean, mainly because most of the people didn't like talking to me. Like I had like a kind of group of, I don't even know if you'd call them friends, but like I had the group that I hung out with while I was at school. Yeah. Full of like the more kind of like alternative weird kids who like I had more in common with than anyone else, but still in hindsight probably didn't really want me there. So yeah, I was definitely one of the particularly like. In terms of like the creative subjects like English and drama, I always got on with those teachers really well because those were the kind of things I was. Yeah. I quite like. I didn't do history at GCSE level, but I did like a history teacher when I was still doing it.
The history teachers are always cool. I find history and geography teachers are much cooler than the science and maths teachers. No offense for science and maths teachers, but they are much cooler.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I wonder why that is.
When I say cooler, probably doesn't. If the teachers were student level, the teachers will be like the history teachers will be like me and you, like the
No, definitely, yeah. They absolutely weren't cool in our position. No.
The PE teachers will be the cool kids.
Yeah.
And the math teachers would be the really clever kids who could also fit in, which I envied.
Yeah. No, yeah. I get that.
You could be a bod, but also fit in.
Yeah, it's weird because this is going way off topic, but like in primary school I was like towards the end of that I was definitely one of. I don't even want to say more intelligent ones, but like I was generally academically brighter than a lot of the others. Certainly in terms of what test results reveal, which is obviously of limited use in the real world. But then after that, sort of like going into secondary school, I quickly found that there were people who were a lot smarter than me and still cool enough to fit in. So I was like, well, I don't even have that now. Like the biggest the biggest nerds in the class are still much cooler than I am and have much more social social weight to them.
Similar to me. Yeah, because at school, in my class, I was the only one to pass my 11+ in primary school. As you say, exams you should be taking one when you're 11 years old. That determine your future. Yeah. So I was, and I don't mind saying this, the smartest at my primary school.
Yeah.
But then I went to grammar school. Yeah. From being the smartest in the grammar school, from the smartest in school, to being just bang average. And I think that took a toll on me because I still always want to be the best, but grammar school, I won't get into my grammar school days because.
Yeah, no, that's fair. So yeah, I guess going back onto topic from there. So sort of like so you like your first kind of interest in performing comedy. Then let's do that. When did that occur? And when? So tell us about. Okay, tell us about when you first like realised that you wanted to do comedy, and then take us through the process of like doing your first gig. So whether that's like writing your first set, finding where to go, that kind of thing. Talk us through that.
When I found my group of friends who I'm now friends with now, I'm still a joker in the group. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I found out one of those friends did Beat the Frog, which is the Manchester Beat the Frog comedy now. A gong show, and I was like, I'm funnier than you.
Is this someone who still does comedy now? Is it someone we'll know?
No, not at all.
Oh, damn.
They beat the frog once, lasted 2 minutes, which is fine.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've definitely done worse on, yeah.
Yeah, same. And I was like, oh, I'll try this. So I did it. Lasted about a minute and a half. But I just wanted, because I did Beat the Frog was my first gig.
Yeah.
King Gong was my second gig.
Ouch.
And Beat the Frog was my third gig.
Oh, no.
So I had a pretty brutal start to comedy.
Yeah, the fact that you carried on after that is a real testament to that. I didn't do my first gong show till like at least maybe like 20, 30 gigs in, and even then doing badly would shake me for about a month.
I didn't know how else to do it. I had no idea how else to just perform, just write and perform, because I've always written. I've always creatively written. Never wrote funny before. I've always done nerdy fantasy and stuff like that. But my very first gong show, Beat the Frog, very first gig, I did a lot of observational stuff, like proper trying to do E to K.
Yeah.
And I quickly realised that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm not good at observational comedy because my observations are not relatable.
That's really funny because I'll say like, yeah, I just watched your last set from Beat the Frog, which is I'll pop a YouTube link in a little bit, but yeah, I remember you had like a whole bit on that where you were just making fun of observational comedy, or specifically you doing it. And so I remember watching that, being like, is there a hint of not like resentment but like self-awareness in that? Is that just
yeah? Well, what I use for that bit, which is my impression of observational comedian, is I go, has anyone been to a chippy?
Yeah. Yeah.
I basically did something like that for my first gig, where I talk about being in the chippy and talk about the back wall limbo, where everyone's waiting for chips. It's not funny, but within yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so that's fascinating. So you literally just you're impersonating yourself in that. That's really good.
I don't want to throw away material, Johnny.
No, absolutely.
Even for my first gig, I will find a way. I will find a way to shoehorn that into what I do now.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, no, I feel that. So, yeah, was that the kind of comedian you wanted to be when you started out then, with the more observational stuff? Or was that just how you thought comedy should be done? So
that's probably how I thought comedy would be.
Yeah.
Because all comedians I had actually gone to pay and watch, if you think about it, between the ages of 10 and 20, all the comedians you pay and watch are observational comedians, mostly. I don't want to make assumptions for people, but I'd watched Dan O'Brien, Sean Locke, I've watched Peter Kay, Mike McIntyre, Jason Manford. All these people who are the biggest comedians on TV are observational comedians, mostly.
Yeah, so just because they got the biggest TV appeal is that's how that works.
Yeah. But as I said, my observations aren't relatable. I didn't know that I looked through life in a different way to other people.
Yeah, which is weird because that should be really good for observational comedy, but because I think you need to think about things differently enough to notice things that other people don't, but not so different that the things you notice have no relevance to the people you're explaining it to. It's a really thin line.
It has spurred me to try and write a character who does observational comedy about completely unrelatable things.
That would be a fascinating Edinburgh show, just like inventing a whole character and like a whole kind of like there's like a kind of different world, and just making observational comedy in that entire fictional. That would be fast. Someone's probably already done something like this. If you can think of anything, but that if I had more patience, I'd try and do something like that, but I couldn't pull it off.
But how you describe that as fascinating and not hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of comedy I like. Just very much into
so I stopped writing observational stuff pretty quickly. After my gongs, I just put it all in my box and then wrote what I do now.
Yeah. How would you describe what you do now?
I don't like to be called a poet. Because any gig I've been introduced by the MC, you'd like this guy. The guy's a really good poet. A bomb.
That's a horrible way to introduce a comedian. He's really good with words, but you might not laugh.
I guess 80% of what I do is poetry.
Right, yeah.
I would say I'm just odd.
Yeah.
I like to describe myself as odd. As in, my strive in comedy is I want the audience to leave and at 3 o'clock wake up and go, why did I laugh at that?
Yeah, no, I see that, yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, because I was trying to think how to, like, when I was introducing you, I was trying how I could describe you as a comedian, and like, because I guess like deadpan you could say, but that's not really a genre of comedy. That's a way of delivering. So it's.
I used to be a lot slower. I used to deliver a lot. I used to play more of a nervous character on stage, which is fine. I kind of like doing that.
Yeah.
But now I don't. And I don't know I don't know why. It just evolved.
Did you just become less nervous, do you think? Is that...
Maybe I was nervous. And I thought, you know what? Let's play a character who's nervous because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But I'm slowly finding the voice.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, like, if I had to compare you to anyone, like you've got quite a similar kind of presence to William Stone, who we had on this a few weeks ago. But in terms of like your actual material, that's very different. I don't really think I can think of anyone who I can really compare you to in a kind of parallel sense, which is good because it means that you're more distinctive, which is very useful if you're a white man to have that distinction from other white men.
I've always wanted to be called a useful white man.
Yeah.
There's so few of us around. Like early on, because if you've ever seen my stuff, people can say one of my biggest inspirations is Tim Key, and I think that comes across.
Yeah.
But very early on, someone said to me, "Oh, you're exactly like Tim Key," and I was like,
Yeah.
So I think that's when I changed my character a little bit. Not that Tim Key plays a nervous character, but even to the point I used to just do poem.
Yeah.
But now I do poem a bit, pull out a prop, poem. So because I don't want to. I love Tim Key and he's my inspiration. One of them.
It's always a bit of a backhanded compliment whenever anyone says, "Oh, you're just like more successful comedian," because you're like, well, I don't want to be that because there's no market for another one of them. Like,
no, there's barely a market for Tim Key, sadly.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to find a different angle.
You should watch Tim Key, everyone. He's incredible.
Yeah, I've only ever seen him. I only ever saw him. He was on like the first series of Taskmaster. I think I've seen him on that. I've never seen him do stand up.
His stand up is genius.
Yeah.
I don't often describe stuff as genius, but stand up is genius.
Yeah, I'll definitely be looking out. Look out more of him. So I guess kind of on topic to what we're talking about. So you're talking about how your kind of persona developed to be kind of less nervous as you've been going on. So how similar? Well, first of all, how similar is your current persona to who you are as a person? And was your older persona more or less similar? Do you reckon?
My current what I'm doing now is who I am as a person.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you see my act, I'm more. It's like me, but dialed down, moved to the left, and then dialed up.
Oh, that's a really clever way of putting it. Because a lot of people, including me, will say like, "Oh, it's me but dialed up." But no, that's a very specific method you've got to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've sort of slowed my energy.
Yeah, I guess it's the difference between cranking up the volume and cranking up the gain.
References I don't understand, but I'm sure I could.
Someone who's watching this will appreciate that reference.
And the other people off the end of who I tech with would be going, Ryan, you should know what that is. We've taught you many times.
You're meant to know this, yeah.
Because sometimes they go, Ryan, turn off the gain. I don't know what that means, but I know which button to press. So It is. It also depends what gig I'm doing. So my if it's more of a pub gig and they don't really care for poems, I become more me.
Okay.
Because I'm all right at speaking to people, but my poetry character doesn't like speaking to people and is more self-deprecating.
Yeah.
So I want to be a mixture of me and my poetry character. And that's, you know what? I think it gives me a bit of an identity crisis, comedy.
Yeah, I feel like that's not an uncommon thing.
Yeah, so to the point where I'm like, am I this guy, or am I who I am now, trying to fit in?
Yeah. Like, which one's the character? That point is,
I didn't mean to give us both an existential crisis.
No, that's fine. That's exactly what we do these for. That is like, it's not something I can relate to on a personal level because I think my character is fairly consistent. Like, it's all over the place, but it's consistently all over the place. But I guess because I mean, you link your poetry and the rest of your set together quite seamlessly. Like, it doesn't. Like, from an audience perspective, it doesn't necessarily seem like a different character or a different approach. It feels like it feels like the poems are just like another way to deliver your jokes. And I wanted to ask about that. So your background before comedy was creative writing. Was that sort of your first kind of? Okay, yeah. So and do you reckon, like, so did you start off? I mean, you said you started off doing observational stuff, but how soon was it till you brought in that stuff you got from creative writing and poetry into that?
4 gigs of bombing.
4 gigs of bombing.
4 gigs of bombing, doing observational bobbins, and then I thought, you know what? Let's just actually write stuff proper rather than. And then.
So, like, were you not writing beforehand? Were you just kind of like, okay, I'll talk about chippies or I'll talk about this, and were you?
I wrote it down in a book, right? And I wrote down like a diary almost. Like, I had the utmost respect for observational comedians because I had no idea how to write the stuff.
Oh God, I could never do it. Yeah.
The way I write my stuff is I can go. I'll write a poem on a bus on the way to the gig. And it's got a start, a middle, and end. Bam, done. It's on a postcard. Yeah. And then I go, how do I link that poem with that poem? And then that's the only little bit I had to write. The bit in between, which I kind of write on stage.
Yeah. I guess kind of emceeing your own poetry at that point.
Yes, and before each gig, I have my big Adidas shoebox full of poems.
Yeah, that's such a nice image. Just like specifically in the like, it wouldn't be as funny if it was like a Nike or I can't think of any other shoe brands. I'm not cool. I
mean, Reebok might be hilarious, but I've not tried it.
No, I think Adidas is definitely the wrong. I don't know why, but I don't think it would be as funny if it was any other brand.
Before each gig, I look at where I am and then do a set list on a piece of paper, the poems I'm going to do, which I think people will be jealous about who perform comedy, because I can just go, I'll do number 1, 4, 3, 10, 6, 2, and 4 in that order, and then I'll do my connections there, and there. And sometimes it doesn't matter if I do poem 1, connection 1, poem 2. I could still do poem 3, connection 1. This connection in between can still be the same.
Yeah, that's a really interesting, I guess, quite useful way of writing, because everything's really clearly segmented, and that, which I mean, I guess most stand-up is, but I think the kind of where each bit finishes and starts and finishes is a bit less obvious, and I get particularly like I think particularly like the haikus you've done, like that as a format is perfect for a one-liner, because it's split up into 3 bits. It's already got like a satisfying rhythm to it, and that's really
Also, you shouldn't have said one-liner, because I don't want people thinking I love one-liner comedy, but poetry poetry is essentially a really long one-liner, so don't ruin the secret.
No. Yeah. I didn't mean to insinuate that. That's what that was.
No, it's fine, but you've ruined the secret. If people realise it's not a poem, it's just a one-liner.
Yeah. Oh,
the magic goes.
It reminds me of I don't know if you've ever seen comedian Andy Field just had this bit that was just like a poem called things that my mum say, and it's just a list of things that his mum says. It's not remotely a poem. It's just a list of things. I do that. There's that thing of like the whole like when you're studying creative writing, people just like, oh, so what is a poem? It's something that rhymes, not necessarily. Oh, it's something that has this certain rhythm. No, it can just be a piece of writing. Oh, so this
just words on a stage.
Yeah, exactly. Just words in order, as you said.
I was in a green room last week, and I've done my stuff, and I come in, and another comedian goes to me, says, "Oh, that's really good." I was actually counting the haikus to make sure they were correct.
Were they?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Have to do.
Yeah.
I don't lie on stage.
No, obviously not. No.
I'm one of those comedians who tell the truth on stage. Everything's true.
Everything's true. Yeah.
So my background is creative writing. If that's where we were going with that, but I think we've moved on lovely tangents.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that does show in the way that you, the way that you write things. Do you feel this is kind of I think we might have already covered this, but do you find that like your poem format is more limiting, or does it help you kind of stay grounded or focused in your writing?
I think my writing process is more. I find it can be difficult if I'm not in the right frame of mind.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
And I think with a poem, I could be sit down. It's probably the same for everyone, actually, but it's the only way I've experienced it. It's my only experience. I'll write a poem on the bus, and I'll be like, "Is that funny?"
Yeah.
What does that mean? And then I perform it, and I realise it's not. So what I've started doing now, and I've started writing a poem for every gig I do, based on the gig I'm doing, based on what the MC. So the MC does a bit of banter, and then I write a poem about the people in the audience.
Oh, that's really
So now I've got a book full of out of context poems, which eventually I want to publish a book.
That would be great. Yeah, I'd love that.
Where the title is Mould Wales, the 13th of the 6th, 2021. And then it will just be what I've wrote, which will make no sense.
That's really fascinating, because you are kind of capturing a very specific moment with that, though, in a very specific, I guess, like how you're experiencing it, like a very specific situation. That I think that could genuinely sell quite well. Certainly amongst like comedy nerds, like myself.
Yeah.
whether there's like a capitalist level interest in it, I don't know, but certainly the kind of niche art interest, I think, is definitely there.
I prefer the interest with the niche artists and the capitalists. I don't want to go big, you know.
No, you don't want to go big. No.
Yeah.
No. I don't want to. No. I don't want to have too many meal deals. That wouldn't be.
So I think that's also pushing you to write. I don't know about yourself, Johnny, but sometimes you just have to push yourself to write.
Oh yeah, no, all the time. I mean, this is partly one of the benefits I've had from hosting a topical show most months, is that I do have to write new things every month, or at the very least adapt things I've already written so they're more topically relevant. And I find if I'm doing that anyway, I'll usually end up writing new things, because that's how that works. So yeah, I guess it's kind of the same in that, even though it's obviously more free-form writing. I find that it gets me to just write like pages of stuff, and then like most of that won't be funny, but I'll have enough that if I take the funny bits out and develop the few ideas in it, I will then have like 5 minutes that's fine, at least funny enough to be done for that show and then never looked at again.
Yeah, but you've got that material that there might be an absolute gold moment in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
just writing so much. Like I've recently looked back at some of my old notepads, and they're full of crap. But inside every piece of crap, there's a golden nugget.
There is, yeah. Something in there will be part of a good idea, and then you just look at that years later and it sparks the right thing. Yeah, no, definitely. Because it's the hardest thing to do is writing. It's like when you've got a blank page in front of you trying to write something. I really struggle with that. So one of the things I do, I mean, I don't gig very often outside of Blizzard, but when I am gigging more regularly, I tend to try to describe like the previous set I've done, and then use that as a basis, and then just like try to swap things around, try something a bit different. Where it could be as small as just delivering a certain bit in a different way or a different order, or it could be as large as like changing like a whole section. But I try to partly to keep me interested, but also just because it's the only way that I get anything written, because I can't write from scratch. Or I can very rarely write. I can write from scratch when I'm in work and meant to be doing something else. That's when I get the ideas. Yeah. Everything all right there?
I heard meowing. So one of my cats is doing some. There's a big ginger cat who likes to get my other cats. Sorry. You were talking really interesting things, but
no, that's fine. There was a cat.
There might have been a cat fight going on. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
the meowing has stopped.
That's fine.
So if anyone's worried about my cats, don't be. I think the blank page thing's interesting. I've wrote one book and I'm almost finished writing a second one, which are both over 100,000 words long. So if I need to, I will sit down and write. But it comes in stages. Most of what I write is in my head at work, and then on the bus on the way to a gig, comedy-wise.
Yeah. That's. Yeah, it's definitely something that I find what I do to get round. Like if I really want to write new stuff, I will write a list of, and this is how I do like the topical stuff as well. I'll just write a list of kind of broad topics, themes, anything like that I want to cover. And then kind of structure that in a way, and then sort of how can I link that to that, and then that will spark another idea. That's generally how I can get by it. But even then, that requires a hell of a lot of focus.
And we don't have focus as comedians.
No, we don't. Especially when I've got like
drinks.
No, exactly. Because I want to start writing for a solo show at some point, which I was originally thinking of taking to Edinburgh, but then I was like, you know what, Edinburgh's really expensive, and I run my own comedy night. I can just book a night for myself to do it, and I've already got an audience in Manchester. I don't need to worry about that. So I wanted to do that sometime next year, and it's just I know bits that I want to do in it. But it's just getting around to actually compiling the whole thing, because the longest set I've done I think is 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, and I think even then that I don't struggle to have that much material, but to keep it all engaging and kind of coherent is something that I struggle with. It'll always it will always feel like a couple of 10 minutes and like a 5 minutes stacked on top of each other, not a 25-minute set, and that's
I think that's where I'd struggle in terms of compared to observational comedy.
Yeah.
To try and imagine, even myself, an hour of poetry, blew my neck.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's too much.
That's too many poems. There aren't enough poems in the world to fill an hour. No, there's like 58 minutes max, surely.
Yeah. Chuck a haiku in there. But I think I'm thinking about how my hour show will be, and it's certainly not going to be all poems. That's why I'm moving from, instead of a poet who does her things, I'm an alternative act who does poetry.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to. Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I do think it is. I mean, comedy genres are like counterproductive at the best times, I think. Anyway, I mean, like, alternative comedy is a very broad term. There is, I mean, I can't remember who I discussed this with, but it's one of those things that I use because people do kind of know what it means, but when you actually try and break down what it is, it kind of falls apart. Like when you take like when you take it out of the kind of cultural context in the 80s when it started, and it was obviously a reaction to Thatcherism and that kind of and that specific club comedy that was around at the time. It makes sense, but sort of taken out of that bubble, it's just like, this person's wearing like a silly hat. This is kind of alternative. Like I've heard people describe Milton Jones as alternative. Like, what? Yeah.
What do you say? Someone's wearing a silly hat. Let me write that down.
Genius.
I need more props.
Oh, wonderful. There's a few questions here that I've not had a chance to brush on yet. So I wanted to talk about something you mentioned before we went live. So you obviously co-run your own gig now, the Lafayette. So if you could tell us a bit about that, and then I'll drill some questions about how you do that. Just tell us about that in a minute. Get your plugs in.
So me, Jack Kelly, James Cook, and Kieran Mullins run a comedy night called the Lafayette, which actually was birthed from us wanting to do a Edinburgh show called Made in Manchester. Us four who were Manchester acts, and then that never happened, and so we created our own night really. And for those who don't know, Lafayette is a very clever pun on the Manchester United's Hacienda, which I've been reliably informed. I think that was Jack Kelly's partner who actually came up with the name. So
that's really good. Yeah.
Every Thursday at the Lion's Den in Deansgate. It's free, apart from the birthday show next week, which has got some pro acts rather than
these dickheads. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I'm not very good at selling things, am I? So it is a free comedy night. We strive to be the best free comedy night on a Thursday.
In Manchester, in the Lion's Den. You won't find a better comedy night in this pub on the first day.
Yeah, it's been going really well actually. It's very well run. I will say that for myself and Jack and Kieran and James. We try and look after the act, so if you are an act watching, we will look after you. Is that? Oh, what else do I normally say? Usually I turn to Jack, and Jack does the admin. So Jack,
that's fine. We'll get Jack on next time. He can do the rest.
It's fun though, so please come, and also please book tickets to the birthday show because we want people there because there's cake.
Yep, go and do that. I'm sure we will. Send us the links and stuff. We'll plug that on Blizzard, of course, as well. As it's on a Thursday, I doubt it will clash with anything we're doing. So we will share that about as well.
What if it did clash?
I mean, it won't because we do Mondays. But to be fair, we'd probably still plug it. We'd just be like.
Okay, just wanted you to say it.
Yeah. So you've taken on some MCing work for this. Is this something you've done before? Have you got it coming up?
I did an MC set for the couple of weeks ago when our MC got pinged. Yeah. So because I was one of the two people running it, I foolishly said I'll MC without any prep.
Oh, feck! How did you find that?
It was a slow burner that eventually burnt to a slight flame towards the end.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
There was a 12 people came, not for the whole night, but there was 12 people in the front row, very front row, with the same company, and it was like a work outing. I thought, I could do something there. So I kept saying stuff, and it kept just not giving me anything, and it really put me. But after the break, during a break, I wrote a few poems about the audience, and then sort of burst into a bit of material. So. But I'm more prepped for it now, and I would say my MCing is different to my act.
Yeah, and I feel like it should be in most cases. I think a lot of people, myself included, go wrong when they first do MCing is they just use it as a way to do longer sets but broken up. It's definitely what I did. Like the first couple times I MC'd when I was attempting to run London nights, like in like 2014, 2015. Which is it's not necessarily the way you can do it. Like I don't think it's for me. It's I'm quite a high energy comedian anyway. It's not too dissimilar, but I think you definitely have to go in with a different attitude. Like you're not there to be like the funniest one in the room. You're there to facilitate the night so that other people can be the best that they can be. And yeah,
mentally, I struggle with that.
Yeah, it is weird because you are still the first one on as well, so you've got all the stress of being an opening act, but not even having like the kind of it's fine, like the MC will warm them up kind of thing. Like that's you've got to do that, and when you do it,
yourself,
yeah,
that is not warm them up.
It's difficult, and I think. Because I think the first few times I did it as well, I definitely like the more the night went on, the more I went into it. But yeah, like that first bit is ridiculous because you want to kind of go in with like the like you want to have the hit rate of an opening act, but also you're welcoming people and that kind of thing. They're similar but also very distinct skills at the same time, and it's very easy as a comedian to fall into what you're comfortable with, which isn't necessarily the best thing for the night.
I still want to be odd though.
Yeah.
Which you
can definitely do. But
I'm hoping tomorrow. Obviously, everyone who's watching this is going to come to Laugh End tomorrow.
So exactly. Exactly. Even Kirsty, who's definitely in London.
I'm basically going to do a WikiHow on how to MC whilst MCing.
Oh, that sounds great.
So I've got a whiteboard on the stage, a clipboard.
Yeah, flip chart. Those ones. Yeah.
Flip chart. Yeah, on how to MC whilst MCing. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
That does sound quite good, actually. Yeah.
It sounds good, but I've never done it before, so
we'll see it. Yeah. But I think one of the benefits is, as an MC, you do get a little bit more leeway as well. Like if not everything you say lands, that like often that's not expected of you, which is kind of nice. And it took me a while to kind of get comfortable into that. Kirsty says she'll pop up just for the day, so she's definitely going. Oh no, she was lying. She said I definitely won't. So I was, well, get his hopes up.
Tell you what, we'll stream it.
Yeah. Do that.
No, sorry, lol. I'm lying.
Oh, fucking hell. Beef kicking off in this interview. I forgot what I was going to say. I don't think it was that important. But yeah, good luck with the MCing, definitely. Oh yeah, that was it. I was guessing when you're doing something so conceptually kind of risky as that, I suppose it's I mean, it's the same with all comedy. Like, the more kind of out there your fingers of doing, like, the harder it'll fail if it fails. So,
yes,
absolutely good luck with that. I feel like that could definitely work.
Last time I MC'd, my pants ripped, my shorts ripped on stage. Last time I MC'd.
Oh no, not as part of your set, just.
Well, I couldn't even make it a part of my set because it was when I was introducing a new act. So I would have. If I would have bought
the new act is my dick. Oh no, that is definitely a cancelable offence. Don't do that.
Do you remember the day in Manchester when it was probably about? It felt like Malta. It was like 32 some degrees.
Oh yeah.
So I was at Lafayette, shorts on, no t-shirt. No, I had a t-shirt on, but no hoodie. Yeah. No, nothing to keep myself warm.
Yeah.
So I had to wear a t-shirt because I wear 2 t-shirts on stage anyway.
Yeah.
As my shorts, because my shorts are split so bad that I had to wear a t-shirt as my shorts. So it looked like I was in a big baby grow.
Oh, that must.
It was the same T-shirt as well.
Yeah. I saw you do the gag in the video. He just take the shit. Yep. I'll never get. I really like it's every form I've seen of that gag where it's just like someone just opening a letter and it's just more envelopes inside it, and then that kind of just always gets me. Or someone like taking their coat off and there's just another like 7 more coats underneath it. Yeah, it's
a gag which is always. It's similar to other gags, but it's different enough for
the
you
fact
to
it's
be
exactly
able to,
the same shirt is what really gets it, because you can do a bit of a double take. You're like, what? Yeah.
It's my Santa Naut shirt.
Oh, so amazing! Yeah.
If I ever get big, my fans are going to be called Santa Nauts, I think. So.
Oh, Santa Naut, yeah.
But I don't want to be big. Don't forget. So.
No, you don't. No, you
don't follow me on Instagram.
That's fine. We will. Yeah. Yeah, we will only plug you a little bit, not enough to get you headlining Wembley tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't think we have that much influence. We're down to our last 2 minutes. I think we've covered most of these questions. Yeah, I think a lot of the other ones I've had, we've already touched on other topics. So just to wind up, also, yeah, if there are any, let's have a quick look at the chat, actually. Oh yeah, Kirsty was saying, well, yeah, when she interviewed Dan, who wrote Genre Fluid, he said a similar thing. He said he writes this short, funny poems that he's collated into a poetry book, but when he performs, poetry nights don't want him because it's performing in more of a stand-up way. The stand-up nights don't really seem all that keen because it's too much like poetry. Is that something you've ever found an issue?
Yeah, that's when I used to brand myself as a comedy poet. So now I don't brand myself as. In fact, I don't brand myself really. I'm just a guy on stage.
Just a guy, yeah. Just like you.
I would say before, because we touched on comedy inspirations, and someone who I haven't mentioned is Bo Burnham.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could sing.
Yeah.
I feel like I would be the best.
Have you ever tried? Have you ever tried doing musical comedy?
Well, like I do an impression of an observational comedian.
Yeah.
I was going to do an observation of a musical comedian, but then my song is essentially I cannot sing and then just end it.
Amazing.
But Bo Burnham, I saw his original. I remember.
I've not seen his new one yet. I need to, but yeah.
I remember on YouTube when he was 16. But he's a very interesting act in terms of some of his stuff can be controversial, but Bo Burnham, he doesn't mean it hate. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes there's a few choice words, which I think is more American than anything. But then I'm like, he's doing it ironically.
Yeah.
Against himself. So I would recommend Bo Burnham to anyone.
Yeah,
because
he is really good.
He is a genius. Oh, I've used genius twice. He's a genius in what he does. Inside is a terrific.
Bo Burnham and Tim Key. Those are the two people who are geniuses in your eyes.
Yes, they're the biggest two. The
biggest two geniuses. If you look up genius in the
dictionary.
James Acaster. 3 geniuses. Doesn't mean anything anymore. Everyone's a genius.
The 3 Gs.
Oh God. Oh.
Yeah, buns. Yeah. So I don't think I have any other inspirations.
No, that's there. Okay, so just as a final question, what advice would you give to a younger you about to start their stand-up comedy journey? Journey. It sounds really wanky when I say journey, but I don't know what else to call it. Because career seems a bit too high ambitions for many of us.
So therapy. Can we call it therapy?
Therapy. Yeah, therapy. For legal reasons, it is not advisable to use comedy as. In fact, that would be the advice. Don't use comedy as therapy.
But we all do.
We all do, but don't. It's bad.
What I would say is be better.
Stop being shit, you cunt.
Just be a bit better. Realize that comedy is overtly selfish. Early on, really, because I know that now, especially like living with my partner and I'm away like 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
Comedy is selfish, but just have a nice partner who accepts that you're a selfish twat. Can I say that?
You can call yourself a selfish twat. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I don't use where actually. I don't know where that came from. Am I paying for this, Johnny? And just find your comedy friends earlier, because I'm now in my own. I have a WhatsApp group, you know.
Yeah.
Fancy. Just get in a WhatsApp group earlier and enjoy it. It's also don't apply for closer gigs after your first gig, you know. So
no, don't do that.
You're not
did you get any of them?
I did get someone say you're not ready for this, which is nice. I would prefer that. someone to say, actually, like I got a few people helping me, but then I got like blacklisted from one person. So
yeah.
No, actually, because no, I didn't get any of them. I don't think I still do actually. That's just like a plan. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
What a big question.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's why I like to end on it. So thank you very much for that. So yeah, you can follow Ryan on Twitter. His handle is in the stream right now. He is also on Instagram, which I forgot to include in the stream because I am very organised.
Well, you don't want me to go big.
Say again?
You don't want me to go big. That's
No, yeah, only follow on Twitter. No, like half of you follow on Twitter, half you follow on Instagram. Make sure you don't get numbers too big. And you've also got a book available on Amazon.
Broken Tides, A Tale of Two Brothers. The second one.
Hopefully the command is still working. Yes, it is. Fantastic, it is there. So yeah, you can find that. That's all in the chat. And yeah, unless you've got and Lafayette as well. I've not got the link to that, but we'll be sharing that on social media. So do follow us on social media if you're not already. Although I think of the few of you who are here, like a third of you are the one who runs the social media. So I reckon you're all already following it. But yeah, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, obviously, and Patreon if you want to support us financially. We would very much appreciate that. So yeah, thank you very much for joining. There's not enough for it to be worth rating, so I'm gonna call that there. So bye.
Bye.